Let's now talk about the emergence of critical discourse analysis, which is obviously an offshoot of critical discourse studies, which overall themselves emerged from critical linguistics. Critical linguistics is a perspective to look at language from a socially critical point of view. How language contributes to certain social phenomena, or language is affected by certain social phenomena, is the main domain of critical linguistics, and it is based on the realization that language should not be a message carrier only. Rather, it should be seen as a deep phenomena which may affect our thoughts, ideas, and views in a certain socio-political and cultural context. Critical linguistics also emphasizes on the role of ideologies and power relations in a certain society, and how they are constructed through language in that society. Similarly, it also looks into the persuasive power of certain linguistic items. So it gives birth to critical discourse studies. Therefore, critical discourse study is not a single discipline, rather it is an interdisciplinary approach which is followed not only in language studies or linguistics, rather it's also a part of various other disciplines, let's say health studies, ethnography, anthropology, sociology. We got a list of other subjects like geography also. So it may be used to understand the use of language, where power and ideology may affect various aspects of social life related to various subjects. For example, if the use of a certain piece of language may affect or reveal the hidden elements of racism in a certain society, so an anthropologist might look into this from his perspective also, and a sociolinguist would look into from his perspective. So it's not limited to language studies only, rather it is quite broad and interdisciplinary. CDS is not a method which is limited to language studies only. Rather, it's an approach which may be employed in various forms of academic knowledge and research. CDA as a discipline or as a form of research developed more prominently in 90s, in the last century, and we can see we had a talk about, though it's an offshoot of critical discourse studies, but it was more specific and focused on looking into the social uses of language, and especially socially critical or socially discriminating uses of language, to unearth various hidden power relations or ideologies which might affect the lives of common people, so that people know the manipulative or exploitative use of language for their own understanding. It's also a kind of discourse analytical research that primarily studies the ways social power abuse, dominance and inequality, racism are produced and reproduced, and at the same time resisted by the people. There are always the people who produce it, reproduce it, and there are always people who resist it in a society. So discourses are not only reinforce ideologies, rather they resist ideologies also. Therefore, critical discourse analysis understands and analyzes both elements which actually produce it and also resist it. It also investigates how various social practices, events, and texts are interrelated and arise out of various ideologies and power relations. CDA is not only an approach, as CDS was, critical discourse studies was, rather it is a method in itself also, and what kind of method it is? It's a kind of approach, it's a kind of a method of analysis which is revelatory in nature, and it reveals various hidden ideologies, power relations, which affect, which are permitted through or which are enacted through the use of language, and certainly affect the lives of common people, primarily, or a large section of society. So using this method, the researchers try to reveal those hidden realities which are usually kept away from the people or conveyed to them in a hideous manner. The aim of CDA is to help reveal hidden and often out of sight values, positions, and perspectives underlying text. Those positions which are not clearly explained, but still they are relevant to the people. And this usually happens in political discourse, where the speaker conveys a certain point of view, and simultaneously they hide certain point of view which usually are their weaker points. It also aims to unmask the strategies of discriminatory inclusion and exclusion in language, in use, or in discourse. When language is used in a particular way, people does include a certain ideology, and simultaneously they may exclude the other ideology. So critical discourse analysis helps us to highlight both these aspects: what is being highlighted, what is being framed, and what is being hidden from the public. And the use of discourse in relation to various important socio-cultural issues and themes such as race, gender, politics, identity, ideology, power relations are the main domains of critical discourse analysis. There are certain important assumptions of CDA also. It asks us that language is always social, which is now a kind of common belief in general discourse analysis also. The language is socially constructed, enforced, reinforced, and it carries certain social elements or ideologies also. It also believes that discourse both reflects and constructs the social world. It not only reveals what is apparent, but it also adds to what is down there. So it helps us in constructing a certain or our own view of reality. Then they are always therefore it is believed, and one of the important assumption of critical discourse analysis is that discourses are socially, politically, economically, and racially loaded. In simple word, it means that they carry certain kind of socio-cultural or political ideology or power relation. So to sum up, critical discourse analysis helps us to understand the use of language in a particular context from a socially critical perspective.